What does the UK Supreme Court ruling mean for trans women, and how will it affect trans men? The UK Supreme Court has ruled that the protected characteristic of sex as outlined in the Equality Act refers to biological women and not trans women.
The unanimous decision of this court is that the terms woman and sex in the Equality Act 2010 refer to a biological woman and biological sex.
He added that transgender people still have protection against discrimination under the law. But is this enough? The case was brought forward on appeal by Gender Critical Group for Women Scotland, which has reportedly been supported by author J.K. Rowling, against the Scottish Government after a previous ruling in 2022 that found sex is not limited to biology. The question initially put forward was, is a person with a full gender recognition certificate which recognises that their gender is female a woman for the 2010 Equality Act? The Supreme Court has ruled sex in the Equality Act refers to biological sex only. This means the legal definition of sex and the legal definition of what a woman is, as stated in the Equality Act, is biological and does not include trans folks with a gender recognition certificate. The judges go on to say there is a strong indicator that the words sex, man and woman have a biological meaning from the sections in the Equality Act that refer to sex, pregnancy and maternity discrimination. Judges have also differentiated between certificated sex and biological sex in their ruling. It was decided that certificated sex, or sex attained by the acquisition of a GRC, is not the same as biological sex. They said they can identify no good reason why the Equality Act should apply to these complex, heterogeneous groupings rather than to the distinct group of biological women and girls or men and boys. The UK Supreme Court has also ruled that access to single-sex spaces, such as toilets, hospital wards, prisons and domestic abuse refuges and crisis centres, can be determined by biology. It adds that single-sex services require a biological interpretation of sex in order to function coherently, and similar confusion and impracticability had arisen in regards to single-sex activities such as women's sports. However, crucially, it is noted trans people are still protected from discrimination under the Equality Act and can bring sex discrimination cases.
The Equality Act 2010 gives transgender people protection not only against discrimination through the protected characteristic of gender reassignment, but also against direct discrimination, indirect discrimination, and harassment in substance in their acquired gender.
Though the Supreme Court ruling was meant to give clarity for members of the trans community and their allies, this is a painful step backwards in terms of equality, and the full impact of it remains unclear.